Ready to dive into something kind of surprising. We're talking cold showers today.
You guys sent in this lecture on the benefits, and honestly, it's got me intrigued.
Right. Totally caught my eye, too. I mean, cold showers, not exactly the first thing that screams relaxation, you know?
Well, that's the thing. The lecture really digs into this whole history of cold water therapy. Turns out it's not some new fad.
Yeah, I was surprised by that, too. It mentioned Hippocrates. Even the Romans were into cold baths for health reasons back then.
Exactly. It's ancient wisdom, seemingly forgotten.
Yeah.
The lecture even talks about those Nordic traditions, the cold plunges, all that. So clearly something's been working for centuries if it's stuck around.
Makes you wonder what we've lost touch with, right?
Yeah.
But okay, let's get down to it. What does a cold shower actually do to your body? That initial shock, not gonna lie, always makes me want to crank it back to hot.
And that's understandable. It's instinctive. But the lecture breaks down WHY that shock can actually be a good thing.
Okay, now you've got to explain this one.
So cold water hits your skin, right? Bam. Vasoconstriction.
Viso what now?
Basically, your blood vessels constrict, they kind of squeeze up.
Wait, so my body's freaking out, pulling everything inwards. Sounds counterproductive when it's cold out.
That's the thing. It seems that way, but think of it like, you know those hoses with the nozzle on the end?
Yeah, like for the garden.
Exactly. You squeeze the nozzle, the water shoots out with more force. Yeah. Your body's doing that, but with blood. Prioritizing the important stuff. Keeping your core warm.
Huh, so it's like a strategic retreat. Protect the vital organs first.
Right. And then, here's the cool part. As you warm back up, those blood vessels open wide again, a dilation. It's like a rebound effect, boosting your overall circulation big time.
So my daily dose of cold leading to better blood flow. That's wild.
It's like a workout for your circulatory system. And the lecture points out this has tons of benefits beyond just, not freezing.
Okay, like what? This is where I'm all ears.
Right.
Because if it's more than just a shock to the system.
Well, one of the biggest ones the lecture talks about is immunity. Apparently, studies show cold showers can actually increase your white blood cell count.
No way. The stuff that fights off colds and all that.
The very same. Your body's like its own little army, getting stronger with each cold shower.
Okay, now that's something I can get behind. Fight off those office germs with a blast of icy water. Sign me up. But there was something else, right? Adrenaline.
You're on a roll. Yeah, cold exposure triggers an adrenaline release. Natural energy boost right there.
So instead of that third cup of coffee,
Maybe try a quick cold shower. It's like hitting the refresh button on your whole system, according to the lecture.
I'm actually starting to see the appeal here. So less coffee, more cold showers for that afternoon pick-me-up.
Hey, maybe that's the secret. But the lecture didn't just stop at the physical stuff. It's the psychological effects that I find really fascinating.
Okay, yeah, because there's got to be more to it than just a quick jolt, right?
Yeah.
What's happening in our brains when that cold water hits?
Well, we talked about the adrenaline, right? But along with that, your body also releases endorphins. Those feel-good chemicals everyone's always talking about.
Right, endorphins, the happiness boost. But the lecture mentioned something about other neurotransmitters too, right? Like going a bit deeper than just the endorphin rush.
Exactly. It specifically talked about norepinephrine and serotonin. Now, these guys, they're your brain's messengers, playing a huge role in your mood, your focus, even how you deal with stress.
Okay, so we're not just talking about a quick mood lift here. This could be something more, well, impactful.
That's what the lecture suggests. And it goes even further, connecting these potential brain changes to increased resilience.
Now, that's something I think we could all use a little more of. But how does a cold shower actually make you more resilient?
The lecture described it like a small challenge you overcome. Each time you step into that cold water and don't immediately jump back out, you're basically facing discomfort head on. And every time you do that, it's like proving to yourself you're tougher than you think.
So it's like mental training.
Yeah.
Building up that I can handle anything muscle.
Exactly. And that feeling of accomplishment, like I did it, that can spill over into other parts of your life too. You might find yourself tackling challenges with more confidence, feeling better equipped to deal with whatever comes your way.
It's funny because, it seems so simple, right? Just a cold shower. But the act of choosing that discomfort, it says something about you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not afraid to push my own boundaries.
Absolutely. And that's what really resonated with me from the lecture. It's not about becoming some kind of, ice bath fanatic. It's about realizing we probably have a lot more inner strength than we give ourselves credit for.
I love that. Okay, but we do have to address the elephant in the room, or maybe the polar bear in the shower. What about the downsides to cold showers? Like, let's be real, that initial shock can be brutal.
You're definitely not wrong about that. And the lecture does acknowledge there can be some downsides. It mentions the cold shock response. It's your body's natural reaction to a sudden temperature drop.
So there really are physiological things happening that we can't just willpower our way through.
For sure. And for some people, that cold shock can be intense. We're talking rapid breathing, heart racing, maybe even some anxiety, especially if you're new to cold exposure or have certain health conditions.
So easing into it is key. Listening to your body.
100%. The lecture really emphasizes taking it slow. Maybe start by just turning the water a little colder at the end of your regular shower, just for a few seconds. As you get used to it, you can gradually make it colder and stay under for longer.
Makes sense. Don't go jumping into the Arctic Ocean on day one. But there was one other thing that kind of caught my attention in the lecture, something about hypothermia. That sounds a little scary.
It's definitely worth mentioning, but it's important to keep things in perspective. Hypothermia usually happens when you're exposed to extremely cold temperatures for a long time, like, say, swimming in icy water for a while. We're talking a totally different ballgame with a quick cold shower.
Okay, so as long as we're not spending an hour in an ice-cold shower, probably not going to happen.
Exactly. It's about being sensible. In fact, the lecture even suggests using a timer, at least at first. Start with a minute, maybe even just 30 seconds, then slowly work your way up as you adapt.
Got it. Start slow, pay attention to how you're feeling, don't turn your bathroom into a freezer. Solid advice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's interesting, though, because it seems like there's a cultural aspect to all of this, too. Like, in some cultures, cold showers are totally normal, but in others, they're practically unheard of.
Such a good point. What one person finds refreshing and energizing, someone else might think is crazy. It just goes to show how much personal preference comes into play here. Don't force yourself into something that just doesn't feel right for you.
It really is a to each their own kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But hey, even if I don't become a total cold shower convert, I think the biggest takeaway here, at least for me, is that it's about finding what works for you. No one-size-fits-all solution.
Couldn't agree more. The lecture wasn't presenting this as like the way to achieve wellness, some magic bullet. It's more about seeing cold showers as a tool, one option among many that you can try incorporating into your life, on your own terms.
Exactly. It's about having options, not adding another chore to the to-do list. But maybe, and I kind of love this thought from the lecture, maybe by choosing a little discomfort, even for a few minutes, we find a side of ourselves that's stronger, more alive somehow.
No, that's a powerful idea right there. And honestly, that might be the most important point of all. It goes way beyond just the act of taking a cold shower. It's about what that choice represents, that willingness to push past those self-imposed limits, There's potential for growth there, I think.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, there you have it, folks. Cold showers, deconstructed. Big thanks to you for sending this lecture our way. It's always a blast exploring these topics together. Until next time, keep those minds curious, and maybe, just maybe, give that shower knob a little nudge toward the blue side. You never know what you might discover.